Welcome, Digital Continent. My name is Father Andy Blaszkowski. I'm a pastor of St. Luke Catholic Church, and I'm with Deacon Steve Arnold. And Deacon Steve, just a few months ago, I became a brand new U.S. citizen. We are approaching this beautiful, very important feast in the history of the United States, Thanksgiving. Deacon Steve, I am new to it. Would you explain and tell me how this Thanksgiving thing came about?
Well, I will try. Let me give you 3 dates. Now, I'm pulling from an article called Give Thanks to the Lord by All Saints Press. Let me just give you 3 years. So many of us learned that in 1621, tradition tells us, was the first Thanksgiving, with the Pilgrims and the Native Americans giving thanks for harvest in the New World. 1789, President George Washington declared a holiday of, quote, sincere and humble thanks. Almost 100 years later, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln, in the midst of the Civil War, proclaimed Thanksgiving as a national holiday to be celebrated on the last Thursday in November. If you have a chance, Google President Lincoln's proclamation of this Thanksgiving. It's a real gem, so beautifully written, part of our heritage as Americans.
So that's a great tradition. Thank you. So what about this whole idea of prayers and Thanksgiving and church? How that came about?
Yeah, it's interesting. For Catholics, at first there was a bit of standoffishness about the holiday of Thanksgiving. It began more as a civic holiday and was celebrated largely by those in the Protestant communities. But over time, it was more and more accepted. And then finally in 1969, Thanksgiving officially entered the Catholic liturgy. And of course, it resonates so much with the Catholic liturgy because...
Well, yes. I mean, the context of the liturgical celebration brings us actually into the heart of what Thanksgiving is for us Catholics. There is the Eucharist. The word Eucharist in itself means thanksgiving. So when we look from that perspective, every time when we celebrate the Mass, the Eucharist, we have this beautiful saying in this preface dialogue that we say, "Let us give thanks to the Lord our God." And what do we respond?
It is right and just, or in Spanish, it is justo
and necesario. Now, I'm not much of a Spanish speaker, but I love that word because it captures the necessity of giving thanks to God. For what? For all that we have received.
Yes.
All becomes gift from God. And we bring the hearts filled with gratitude in thanksgiving as we celebrate the Eucharist to be transformed of what we bring and offer. So then do what? In being transformed by the grace of God in the sacrament, we go forth.
Amen.
Would that help to celebrate the Thanksgiving, Deacon?
Yeah, so Thanksgiving, many ways to celebrate. And I know you've had some experience in it, but we want to keep the Eucharist at the heart of Thanksgiving. Please try to come to Mass. We have a 10 a.m. Mass on Thanksgiving Day. And then there's all the other things that flow from the Mass, all the other ways of giving thanks and responding in gratitude. The big feasts, the opening our homes in hospitality, maybe finding a way to serve on Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving weekend, recreation or recreation, watching the football game. All of these things can be good, but hopefully all of them will be drawn together and taken up into the Mass, into the thanksgiving of Jesus and his church.
So, as a new citizen, I will go to Mass. I will go celebrate the Eucharist. I will give thanks to God for all that he is giving us. Then I will go home. I don't think if I will prepare, but I will enjoy a nice, fat, juicy turkey with a little bit of a cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
So good. Then we will watch a little football.
There you go.
Maybe have an adult beverage if we like.
Little nap.
Little nap
in there. Yeah.
And in doing so, open our hearts to share that gift of thanksgiving with those whom we may encounter. not only in the day of Thanksgiving, but in the days that may follow, to really share the blessings that we have received with those who may not.
As we say, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good.
For his
love
endures forever.
Amen.
We wish you a blessed and grace-filled Thanksgiving to you and your loved ones. We will see you again on the digital continent.